Hello, hello! It's time for a new boss guide. This time we'll be looking at Behemoth. I'm going to be showcasing two teams, one of which is the typical electric team that pushes higher deficit, and then I'm going to be showcasing a brain dead team which works really well up to, I believe, 27% deficit, in which case it becomes a little rough. I've done 27% clear with that team, or I think it's 26.9 that I did. But it's Tribe Tower 930 because obviously my main is well past it. So when we get to talk about it, I'm going to explain that one a bit more in detail. But for now, I'm going to be talking about the electric team. I did not manage to deal with the red lightning properly, but I know exactly what I did wrong, so I'm going to be mentioning exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Unfortunately, because I have SR-15 on every electric unit of my team, I could just face tank the red lightning and I killed anyways. So. After 5 tries, it was down. It was only I was only at 1.2 mil power, which is not exactly too high, but it is what it is. Again, I will be able to mention exactly what you're supposed to be doing different. So let's talk about it. Phase 1 is very simple. Once again, this is a little more difficult of a team than the other one. The other one, despite the fact that it clears with less deficit, you'll probably have less deficit with that team than you do with this one, as Maiden is probably no mergent. Don't know if you even worked on her enough so that her power is higher. And Rouge is kind of in the same boat. You probably don't have a whole lot of merge on her, and if you do, you probably don't have good OL on her because all you care about is that one max ammo. So, if you have much less power with this team, the other one might be better for you. Anyway, that aside, let's talk about this one. So at the start, you want to be shooting with Maiden. You want to shoot fast enough because otherwise the Gatling gun will not be targeting Cinderella's decoy on the first volley, which basically translates to, oh shit, someone is way too little HP to survive the red lightning later in the fight. This is super important because if, you have any HP missing, you'll just die. It is possible to take some damage. Obviously, Cinderella will take some damage, but she is also a defender, so she has more HP to work with. And obviously, Rouge is able to heal the difference for the most part. I will say, if you're using this team and your Rouge is not SR-15, probably a good idea to fix that, because obviously the SR-15 is going to increase your HP by a lot, which means the HP you're healing on others is increased. Just something worth mentioning for obvious reasons, because it impacts your run. Once you start getting shot, go behind cover. You have limited cover because no litter, so just keep that in mind. So with these, you're pretty much... so there's two ways to deal with these. You can be shooting toward the top of the thing and hope that the rocket launcher, the explosion is going to land on them and destroy them. If Maiden has a full charge rocket launcher, she will, during full burst, be able to one-shot them. If not, you're going to have to just cover them. So my Maiden has no cover here, which means if she's targeted by anything, she will most likely die. But for the most part, this boss, you can control where the bullets will go, and it most certainly will always go for Cinderella. So, first thing to note, you see that I'm not bursting right away. Once her tail hit the ground, and you can see the shine, that's the time to burst. This lines up your burst for all but one rock, but you will face tank that rock, that's completely fine. So, I think this is pretty self-explanatory here. You shoot the rock when there's a rock, and here is another thing that's important. When you see that your full burst is about to end here, swap the Maiden, start the full charge, or reload if you haven't, which is what I was doing here, and then just shoot at the debris here. So the goal is probably to shoot 3 to 4 times, because if you destroy that rubble, you might as well be dead. That's pretty dangerous. Here, obviously, you burst, you break that rock, you cover whoever is being shot at. Once again, you break the rock, and once again with Maiden, you do the same thing. So here, you don't wait until the circle ends. This is super important because the Gatling gun will target Cinderella as a decoy. However, the problem with that is that if you don't do it right, this won't line up, so you won't be able to break the next rock. That's one. The other problem is that if full burst ends, the gun can just go to Summer Anise, and Summer Anise will die. There's no stopping that. She will die. Or whoever the highest attack is, which most likely is Anise, because you have defender, supporter, supporter, defender, defender. So, unless Rouge has a fuck ton of attack lines for whatever reason, it most likely will go on Summer Anise, which should be built by this point, right? So here you want to break that one, then you swap the Maiden, and yeah, you burst as soon as you can. That's how you deal with that rock. This is the one that you will face tank. If you play perfectly, it is possible to deal with it, but it is not necessary. This is the one where you don't want to wait too long. I just barely had enough time for it to go for the decoy. But yeah. Here, because of the projectile, it will break your shield on some characters, so you'll have to cover with them. If you are lacking cover on everybody and you don't have a shield on the people that do not have cover, your run is dead here. Because she will most likely kill you through, well, whatever HP you have left. Here you really want to burst as soon as you can. And now with this... so here is the fuck up. I went straight to do the circle. The goal here is not to do the circle right away. The goal here is to stall so that your burst is on the verge of ending. You want to keep it at low HP so that you can actually one-shot what's left of it at the end of your burst. Because if you do that in time, your burst will run out, you'll be shooting debris, you'll be bursting here. If you burst right, you'll have enough time. Because right now you'd be like about at 3 seconds of full burst left, right? And here you'd be able to generate burst. So here you'd be able to just generate burst for the circle. And you would be able to potentially do the circle. This is the toughest part of the fight if you want to do it like with this team. You are meant to basically hit the debris, and hopefully there's debris left, to be able to burst at the right time so you are able to do the circle. As you can see, I fucked up the timing because I basically wasted 4 seconds by doing the circle too fast. If I didn't do that, well, I would be in burst right now with like maybe half of the time left, and I would have to do it. One thing you can do here is pause, like tap escape, to basically reposition your cursor into the circle so you can have a bit more time to do damage to the circle. The window is so tight, it is genuinely worth doing. I kid you not. But if you can pull it off, you will take, I think, 6 instants of lightning instead of 9 to 10. So you should be able to survive this, even with way less deficit than I do. And then the charge that the boss does after will not matter because you have crown shields. It is important that you get that burst in because it is an extra Cinderella burst, which means that Maiden is now at 12 MP. Which means the next burst, Maiden can actually burst and kill it, as you're going to see very soon. So here I decided to stall a bit, but obviously I could not stall for too long, and here we go. It is dead. As you can see with Maiden, and my Maiden, well actually on this account she has 80% elemental, but point is, for 80 bars, because you have 12 instants of damage, and I believe my burst is only at level 7, if you have her at level 10, you'll do even more. If you have better stats, you'll do more. That's just how it is, right? At the end of the day, when you're getting that burst with Maiden, you should be killing, right? While I was able to survive easier because I had SR15 Doles for the damage reduction that they give, and while my deficit was only 28% here, you can genuinely push 30, 31, maybe even, no, 32% has been done before for this boss with this team. But I'll talk about Team 2 now, because Team 2 is going to be a lot more accessible for most people. Because, again, not everyone has rocks to be investing in Maiden. A character that's really only effectively used on Behemoth and Solo Raid, which, you know, most of what you're going to invest in is elemental damage, but that's only mattering if the boss is weak to electric, right? It is awkward, I get it, so I'm going to talk about this team. This is a 27% deficit clear. And, yeah, most people have those units, I want to say. Instead of Maiden, we have Helm, and instead of Rouge, we have Little Mermaid. So Little Mermaid is a character that is about on par with Rappy as a burst 1 DPS. So 9 times out of 10, people are going to be using her, right? It makes sense. You will try to get good overloads on her and everything. So because of that, you'll have better overload than on Rouge. You'll probably have her 10-10-10. Rouge you might not, because again, Solo Raid and Tetra Tower are like the main thing you're going to be using her in. Obviously, she's also used for Behemoth. She is used for Mirror Container, mostly for Anomaly on that one, because if you're talking about hard mode, it's either Rappy that's being used, or Litter. Mostly Litter, I'd say. At least at a high deficit. And other than that, it's Solar Rays. So, you know, and again, investing in her overloads is pretty expensive. You probably just want one max ammo and just move on to the next thing because you don't have enough rocks to do enough, right? Little Mermaid is a DPS, so you're going to be working on her. That's just how it is. Same thing with Helm. She's the best water DPS in the game, bar none. Freddy can technically do more damage, but she doesn't bring the burst gen that Helm does. She does not bring the support that Helm does. She is completely selfish and barely does 10% more damage overall. And that's if you have the maids with her, and if you are putting her in any other team, she does worse than Helm. That's just how it is. That's just the facts. So, Helm is a character you'll most likely invest in. She is good for the Crystal Armor boss. She is good for Gluttony. She is required, just straight up required, for Black Snake because she's the best DPS for that fight. It's not even close. So, yeah, Brady can also be used in that fight because you will be using anyway Maid Anchor to begin with for the overheal at high deficit. So you might as well just fully commit and go Masked Anchor. But, you know. With that said, Helm is very easy to push power with. She is an old character. You probably have more merge on her than you would Maiden. I mean, Maiden, I'm surprised if you even have a merge. Helm can also get more merges from silver tickets right now. She is available in the shop as one of the seasons of collectibles pack that just lets you choose her in one of them. So you're able to just have way more power with Helm as a result. And again, you know, she's super worth investing in terms of rocks. So it makes complete sense that your Helm should be like at a decent level at the very least. So for most people, what would look like 29-30% deficit with this team is going to look like 26-27. And for those who are like, oh, well, your Little Mermaid is core 7. My Little Mermaid was core 2 in that video, and my overloads are still shit. Most of my overloads are elemental damage. They do nothing in that fight. So, yes, I have more power with her. It's barely much more than Rouge to begin with because I have SR15 on both. So, you know, just saying so people understand, even with a lesser Little Mermaid, this might be a better option for you. So as I said, you're not really like spam shooting with this version. Just shooting normally, you get the same burst gen anyway, because you have a rocket launcher, an SMG, and then a pellet shooter. And here is another thing that's nice. You get rid of the RNG of this, because you can just, you know, full burst focus with Little Mermaid like it's nothing. So, next phase. Once again, once you see the light coming out of her tail hitting the floor, it's time to burst. So if you're wondering why the boss has like 6,000 bars of HP, again, this is Strive Tower 930. It's not, it's not 34 hard. This is a harder version of Behemoth. But as I said, this is a 27% deficit team. And I tried the electric team, and this team cleared in 4 tries, actually. Like, it was very easy. I had to stop myself from killing a few times so I could actually just have an idea of everything that could go wrong. This is basically the same as the other team. It's just that you don't have to shoot at rubble. Here you miss a kill. That's completely fine. That's calculated. Here you have to do that before the full burst is over, because honestly I should have done that circle faster. Because if you don't, the minigun will kill someone. Now you might be wondering, why am I not using Helm Burst already? Damage. That's it, really. So here I am using Helm Burst, and as you can see, everyone's at full HP already. Damn, that's crazy. So that is the way to deal with it. And here you can see me waiting for full burst to be almost over. It's the same idea as with Rouge. You want to be milking as much time as you can so you can get as much damage on board as you can. Also, because then I can do this properly, as you can see. So now I did the QTE right, and I also bursted with Helm so that everyone would be at full HP despite the lightning. And here is another Cinderella burst. Same thing here, you want to do the QTE as fast as possible, but leave some of it for when you're out of burst or close to out of burst. It doesn't matter if you're out of burst or not. At the end of the day, you'll be able to just, you know, focus thanks to Little Mermaid. So there's like no problem. If you're like running out of burst early, you can just take your time. That's completely fine. And here is the ending of the fight, obviously. Cinderella Go Border. You just ignore everything. You focus on killing the boss. Also, isn't it funny how Look at the HP of my guys. Yep, this is how much HP I have left. Yep. I just got the last tick of damage, right? Let's see here. The fuck is going on? This boss is really funny if you kill it during Red Lightning. I've had people that killed the boss and then all of their units were dead. So, it's goofy like that. I had more time than that, but yeah, it got close. As I said, this is 27% deficit. This is brain dead. My Anise has no attack line. She has 4 elemental and that's it. My Cinderella is 4 elemental and 3 attack. I think that basically totals to like 30% attack and 83% elemental on Cinderella, and then Anise is at, I want to say 81, 82% elemental. Again, this team is super easy to work with. It is super easy to work with. Try it. If you're stuck on Behemoth, try it. That might genuinely be all you need to do. Because I know that this team here, the one with Maiden, Summer Anise, Cinderella, this team is very difficult. It has a way higher ceiling of difficulty to clear with, and I don't even clear it right in this video. I know exactly what I did wrong. I explained what to do to avoid that thing that I did wrong. But I understand that it's going to be difficult for some people to pull it off, right? I fully understand that. So, I'm just saying. If you think this is too difficult, just try the other team. Give it a try. Give it a try before you just give up on it, right? But yeah, that's it. Hopefully this is helpful to some. I know this video should have come out months ago, but motivation at an all-time low because I get fucked over by a Core 7 once again is my favorite time. Yay! I'm going to probably upload the Little Mermaid polls on this channel probably in a week or two. I have the video for that. I have the video for Rappy's polls as well. Now, Little Mermaid, I did not save the polls from my alt because I'm gonna be real with you. I was frustrated. I'm glad I didn't, to be honest. But I'm going to probably post my polls for Little Mermaid in roughly a week, as I said. With that said, have a nice one, everyone. I'll see you all next time. And again, hopefully this helps some. See ya!